For me, I think the biggest thing that football taught me was how to overcome adversity.
At some point in your life, you're going to have some tough times.
You have to have that next play mentality.
That cohesiveness and that working together, that's really something special that you can't get in a lot of other areas.
When you practice that and you live that in other phases of your life, it becomes second nature because all you know how to do is fight.
It's not an easy game. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
You start to appreciate the smaller contributions that people make. You don't just look at the big one because you knew it took 6 or 7 other guys who are unsung.
And you know, you can't take shortcuts and be successful.
Doing what they do to make it possible for the guy getting the press clippings or whatever it might be.
In this game, whether it's as a coach or a player.
So I would certainly say that you know, you definitely got a very quick lesson in how to overcome adversity playing football.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Ball with the Czar. I'm Emory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, here on the campus of Virginia State University, home of the Trojans, with head football coach Reggie Barlow. Coach, I appreciate you taking time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Well, you had success as a player in college football and also in the NFL, as a quarterbacks coach and offense coordinator, head coach at Alabama State, and you're off to a great start here at Virginia State. So it's hard to sustain success over an extended period of time in any field. What foundation was laid in you early in your life that allowed you to have that success over a long period of time?
Well, I've been blessed, to been around some really good coaches while I was playing. Houston Markham, who's a mentor of mine, played for him at Alabama State. John Gruden and Tom Coughlin. As an NFL player, my philosophy was molded around those guys, and what we've tried to do is surround ourselves with good coaches, guys who understand what it is that we're trying to develop in our student athletes, and then of course being able to go out and get the right type of student athletes that fit the program, fit our philosophy, and just a combination of those things. And it's just being blessed to be around some really good coaches. It's all about, you know, having good help as well.
Here at Virginia State, they had a very good tradition in football, great education here. What made this spot the ideal spot for you? Because you were about to start coaching somewhere else and then this position opened up. What made this spot ideal for you?
Well, I think when you're looking at an opportunity to be a coach at a university, it starts with the leadership there. And our president, Dr. Abdullah, after reading about him, seeing his pedigree and the way he engaged the students here, the student body here, I just thought was very impressive, very sharp guy. Then of course having the opportunity to meet Ms. Davis, who's the director of athletics here, and just knowing that stability was important. She had been here for an extended period of time. There are a lot of successful coaches underneath her. So those were the things that really made me feel good about Virginia State. And then, of course, being able to come to the campus to see the stadium. And then, of course, the prior coaches before me, Coach Scott and Coach Thweet, those guys have done a good job of recruiting and having a good group of student athletes here. So it was a good situation.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about stability, because I think when a lot of coaches, young coaches, take jobs, they don't look long term and don't think about the ever-changing pieces around them. So is that critical to picking a head coaching job when you're a young head coach?
I think so, and I get it. When you've been a coach and your desire is to be a head coach, a lot of times you feel like you have to jump on the first opportunity that comes, but there's nothing like experience and stability. And when you have someone like Ms. Davis, who's been here over 10 years, coaches have had success under her, and that just don't happen just because, you know. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was important, and just having an opportunity to come here and really talk to some of the coaches about her leadership and all that stuff, it was a really good thing for us.
One thing I noticed about your tenure as a head coach back at Alabama State, guys came into your program and they left better football players. Player development is huge in your tenure. And how important is player development to a head coach when they're trying to get a program going in the right direction?
Yeah, that's player development is very critical. And I'm from the South, and back South we had these ice cream things. They were called push-ups. And usually they came in orange flavor.
Flintstones.
Yeah, so we use the push-up method where obviously the top of the ice cream is very fulfilling for you right now and you're doing, but as you continue to push it up, the top eventually goes away and then there's the stability, the foundation of the ice cream is at the bottom. Well, the young men that we bring into our program, they're the stability of our program, and in order for us to have a successful program, we have to make sure that we are gradually bringing those guys up. And so that's the mindset that we've kind of had. I think when we look back, we have to forecast at our level as well. You know, obviously we may not be able to get 5-star, 4-star athletes, so we may have to take a kid who plays offensive line that's only 230 pounds right now, but forecast that this guy will be able to eventually be something else. I'll give you a good example of that. While at Alabama State, we recruited a kid named Jalen Ware, 6'5", 6'6" type kid, played offensive line, only weighed 230 pounds or so when we got him, but we forecast and envisioned this guy being in the program, redshirting him, developing him, and right now he's in his senior year at Alabama State, 6'7", 315, and they're saying that he is probably one of the top offensive tackles that's going to be coming out for this year's draft. Had a conversation with him. He's gone and visited several other teams, NFL teams. So it's about forecasting and just bringing guys in and develop them once you get them.
And I can only speak from experience. I remember going in, I played at Louisiana Lafayette, and I remember going in as a freshman and not really knowing how to lift weights. Right. And then they put you through the program and you lifting weights and you start to see the light come on physically and then schematically. Have you seen that light come on for some of those guys you brought in as a freshman last year and now as you transition into the fall camp?
Yeah, well, this is my first actually signing class, so there was a group of freshmen. I'll give you an example that's here. Zach Wilcox, a freshman kid, plays offensive line as well. Nice sized young man, just didn't have the upper body strength, didn't really understand the game per se. Coach Stadler, our offensive line coach, has done a great job of developing this guy mentally and physically, bringing him along the right way. And this spring, he had an outstanding spring, probably be the starting left tackle for us. So you have to do it. I mean, you have to be able to develop student athletes on this level, really on any level. And that's really what it's about.
Coach, you've played in what was called the second golden era of HBCU football, outstanding wide receiver. Do you think we're slowly getting back to what we can call the third era of golden era of HBCU football with what you've seen across the landscape?
Yeah, I think it's happening. I mean, obviously, the bring on of mid-majors has really changed our game. Typically, when I came out, just in my area, we got Troy University, who, when I came out, they were a 1AA program. Now they're a FBS program, mid-major. So I think a lot of the kids that would typically be going to HBCU are now getting opportunities to go to some of these mid-majors. We understand that going 1A is so important to student athletes. It don't matter if it's on the planet of Jupiter, as long as it's 1A, they're willing to go. But I think there's still a good brand of football in HBCU. I think now there's a little more parity than probably it was back in the day. Obviously you had in the SWAC where Grambling was very dominant in Jackson State, but over the past years you've seen an Arkansas Pine Bluff that won it some years back, and but Grambling is back to what they used to be, obviously in our conference, with Winston-Salem and Bowie and Virginia Union. So there's a lot of solid football being played. I think the coaching has gotten dramatically better. Not saying anything against former coaches, because there were some outstanding coaches back in the day, but I think more people have dived into the HBCU landscape as coaches than they did in the past. And so yeah, I think we're getting back. I think if you look and evaluate the number of NFL prospects from HBCUs this year, I think this will be the best year that we've had in a long time.
One of the staple questions I ask during these interviews, coaches, is about coaching philosophy, because I'm big on picking people's brain and figure out why they are successful. What's one piece of your philosophy that makes you successful?
Well, we live by the acronym, the DASH, and we spell DASH, D-A-S-H-H, and we want our program, our philosophy, our approach is everything starts with discipline, you know, doing what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, when it's supposed to be done, ultimately when no one's watching. The A in the acronym is for attitude, positive and conquering, being able to overcome adversity, because at some point there will be some adversity in the season. We will be faced with a 3rd and 20. We will be backed up, you know, we will be in the red zone and need to get a stop. The S is for sacrifice. It ain't about you, all right? It's not about you. You were the top all-state wide receiver in high school, or this game we may need you to block for Trent Cannon. You got to be able to sacrifice for the sake of the team. The other H is habits. Everybody raise their hands at the end of practice and say champions on 3. You know, 1, 2, 3, champ. What do your habits say? Your habits must be aligned with your expectations, and you can't just talk about what you want to be if your habits don't match that. And then lastly, you can have all that other stuff, but if your heart is not in the right place, if you're not for team, if you're not for your coaches, if you're not for your university, if you're not for your community, then there ain't nothing we can do for you. So real briefly, that's our philosophy. That's the mindset that we have. Our kids understand that, our coaches understand that, and we try to live by it.
And I talked about player development, and one thing I noticed just from watching you back at Alabama State was how personal you are with each and every player, as far as like schooling them. Even within the game, you'll pull a guy to the side and show him a new technique and how to go back out there and do it right. And that shows the teaching part of it. We know football from a philosophical point teaches you a lot of things. What would you say is the biggest thing football taught you?
Football has just taught me toughness. I mean, going through college football, my coach, Coach Houston Markham, he pushed us. He developed a mentality that give me more, coach. We're running and we're conditioning, coach, I can take more. So it built that in me. When I went to the NFL, being at the combine and being around all those guys that were big time, FBS athletes, I just felt like I belonged, and that it came from the work ethic. It came from the commitment to having a positive and conquering attitude. But football it's a beautiful game. It gives all of us an opportunity to develop all type of relationships that you normally wouldn't be able to have. Gives me, in this capacity, in this role right now, an opportunity to really touch guys' lives, to find out who they are. Why did you choose Virginia State? What did you want to do? I'm in the process of doing exit interviews now, and when they tell me what they're majoring in and where they're from, and how did you grow up, I like to know all of that stuff. What type of music they listen to, So I want to totally be engaged in these guys and be able to provide the best leadership I can. And the only way I can do that is you gotta know them. Gotta know them.
Kids have a lot of options nowadays. So why would a student athlete nowadays choose Virginia State? Or what would you want in a student athlete?
Yeah, well, I'd say why not Virginia State? As you look around this place, if you come on our campus and see how beautiful it is, the tradition here, it's a beautiful campus. It's spread out. The dorms are nice. Then you talk about from an academic standpoint, and what do we offer? I mean, you can come here and major in criminal justice. You can major in business. You can be in mechanical engineering. You can be in education, sports management. I mean, there's a wealth of things that you can become if you choose to come to Virginia State. And then if you come to be a part of the football program, there's tradition where this university has won championships. This university have played in some big games and had great attendance, and so you'll get a chance to play in front of a lot of people, and then just being able to be coached by a wonderful staff, that we have here, offensively, defensively, guys that have a lot of experience, and then myself having the experience I have, and then you're going to be engaged. I mean, this is, I mentioned about the beautiful campus and all that stuff, but here at Virginia State for us, you know, those are just bricks and mortar. It's all about the personal relationships that you're going to have with myself, with our coaching staff, and it's like a brotherhood, and each of us need all of us, and we're all family.
Well, it was great watching you guys last year get out there and compete, play in some big games, and win a lot of games in your first year. And we wish you the best of luck moving forward.
I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.